Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifini. Good morning, Great Malabar.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai Oseni. Yes, we'll start the review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, election court validates Tinubu's presidency. 5 key takeaways. Abuja now effectively 37 states. 25% votes not required. Beavers dumped. Electronic transmission of results discretionary. Tinubu's $460,000 forfeiture not criminal. President's candidacy fit and proper. Yes. 12 hours plus were all ears yesterday, listening to the judgment as delivered by the justices in the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. And of course, it was a long one. I listened all day in the office up till 7 p.m., got into my car, tuned to a radio station, continued listening, got home, continued listening, and I must say thanks to Chief Robert Clark. We kept him on his seat from morning till night, and he appeared on Newsnight. So kudos to him, as well as Professor Killer, who was also on standby from morning till late night when he too weighed in on the judgment. But now, the takeaways, this day newspaper has highlighted 5 key takeaways. But let's look at how other newspapers are reporting before I say one or two things. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Tribunal affirms Tinubu's victory, dismisses petition. And the quote there, having considered that all the 3 petitions are devoid of merit, I hereby dismiss all the petitions, I affirm the declaration by INEC that Ahmed Bola Tinubu is duly elected president of Nigeria. That's the verdict from the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper reporting this story, PEPT dismisses APM, Labour Party, PDP's petitions against Tinubu's election. Now, the Punch newspaper, Atiku Obi plan appeal as election tribunal dashes bid to sack Tinubu. Now, the Blueprint newspaper also reporting that story, how Tinubu, Obi, Atiku won and lost. While the Leadership newspaper, Tinubu won 2023 presidential election, court declares. Now, dismisses APM, Labour Party, PDP's petitions. Now, the decision of the courts on Obi's prayers. 1. Failed to prove how he scored majority votes. INEC can use either manual or e-transmission of results. Obi LP can't prove Tinubu was convicted in US. Abuja 25%. FCT not more special than other states. Yes, that's on Obi's petition. On Atiku's petition, the decision of the court, claim of Guinean citizenship, drug case against Tinubu, dismissed, failed to prove allegations of election fraud. 37 exhibit tendered, removed from court records. Now, on APC's position, on APC candidates, Tinubu duly elected by majority of lawful votes cast. APC can't question Obi's membership of LP. And of course, on the APN's prayer, the first to be decided, Tinubu and Shetima qualified to contest. Yes, other newspapers still have a number. Yes, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, PEPC, Presidential Election Petition Court, affirms Tinubu's victory, dismisses Atiku Obi APN's petitions. Of course, the Nation newspaper also reporting this story. Tinubu, Shetima floor Atiku Obi at Tribunal. Tribunal strikes out petitions of Labour Party, PDP, APM candidates. Now, a number of issues. The status of Abuja. now regarded as the 37 states. Nothing special about Abuja. That was the verdict of the tribunal. But I'm sure, since the petitioners have indicated that they're heading to the Supreme Court, I'm sure we have not heard the last on that, because the Supreme Court once ruled on that matter. Whether that position has changed, we'll see when the petitioners approach the apex court in the land. Now, the beavers dumped, as this they put it, electronic transmission of results discretionary. The position of INEC in all this, is this a validation of how INEC conducted the election? Not exactly. Because INEC promised to transmit election results real time. In fact, many Nigerians got to know the meaning of real time through INEC. The chairman of INEC himself, his staff, Festus Okoye, went round assuring Nigerians, and of course, former staff of INEC also gave assurance that this is the game changer. But yesterday, something the tribunal said on INEC's position. Yes, because Obi and Labour Party were insisting that non-use of electronic transmission of the results is an infraction in itself. So the justices weighed in on that, saying that looking at the law, transmission, transfer of results, according to the tribunal yesterday, they were used interchangeably. And that can mean either you do it electronically or you carry the physical material from polling unit to the collation center. But here is the key. The tribunal also mentioned that yes, INEC made assurances. They gave assurances as to what they are going to use. But the tribunal said, well, INEC's assurances are mere promises. As one musician sang some time ago, promises are meant to be broken. Perhaps that's the key word for INEC. Because you don't make so much assurance, give so much assurance in Nigeria and outside Nigeria that this is the way we are going. Even when there was a report that, oh, INEC has changed its mind, INEC came out to assure. And of course, the tribunal said, INEC assurances are mere promises. Perhaps the lesson politicians will take from this is that you don't drop your guard because INEC has given assurances, because they may just break that promise. Mere promise, as the tribunal calls it. So for INEC, I don't think they cover themselves in glory in that aspect. But the tribunal has given its verdict. So electronic transmission of result is discretionary. And if it is discretionary, you don't give assurances this is the way we are going to do. You tell the people.
So why did INEC apologize to the people for the technical glitch if it was discretionary? That's the question we keep asking.
Yes, INEC perhaps will answer that question in the fullness of time, as it were. But proving the case, the tribunal ruled that Obi could not, and the Labour Party could not prove how they were defrauded, how they got the highest number of votes. But I saw several cartons of INEC materials being carried into the tribunal. So what happened to that, to those materials? But we know that in election matters, it is very difficult for those who lose to prove that they were that they won, except your name is Hope Uzodinma, as we have seen in the past. But that is why you hear among our politicians, just win the election first. Let your opponent go to court, because they know it's not very easy to prove. But I don't think we'll continue on that path if we are to grow this democracy. We must have a situation where the people's vote counts, not because those who felt defrauded cannot prove their case, because you have to do it polling unit by polling unit. There was a video of the former vice president giving a talk on Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how he insisted that they must pursue some cases of some governorship election they lost then as ACN. And the he told the Parliament today that we have to prove this case polling unit by polling unit. And of course, he gave them that, please do everything to prove polling unit by polling unit. Perhaps that's what the petitioners have not been able to do, to prove polling unit by polling unit. But I don't see why that should be difficult, because, for instance, Labour Party, a very popular party with people all over the place. So how come those people could not come and give testimony? Because the tribunal observed that the witnesses they brought were basing their submissions on third-party reports. So how come in every unit they felt they were cheated, there was nobody to come out and stand and say, yes, this is the result, this is the wrong result? But both parties, Labour Party and PDP, they have said they are heading to the Supreme Court. And perhaps at the Supreme Court, we'll get further clarification. But when the Supreme Court rules, that will be the end of the matter. And everybody will just go and prepare for the next election, using the lessons drawn from the conduct of this election. And one of those lessons is that don't take INEC assurances very seriously.
Wow.
Just prepare for all. Prepare for all scenarios. Prepare for all scenarios. Don't assume that because it is beavers is the key. Nobody can touch and tamper with beavers. But now you hear it. Beavers can be dumped, and beavers have been dumped.
Quick comment.
Yes, Dr. Vasi.
Since we've been focusing since morning on the fallout of the tribunal's ruling in the presidential election, I think by way of summary, we can say a number of things. One, that there seems to be around this table, and what we've been doing since morning, some form of consensus that election petitions are better determined before anybody is sworn in, whether at the presidential level or at the state level. Now, as for INEC, what the court said yesterday, basically, is that there was substantial compliance. And that's, all that needs to be proven. And it's on the basis of that, because the presumption of regularity is in favor of INEC. And once there's substantial compliance in election matters, is deemed to have gone very well. But you've raised a critical question now about perception. That can people trust INEC again when INEC makes promises? The third point that I think we can hang on to, that for now, there may be other points that will come out later, is that, look, he who alleges must prove. It's elementary law. It's trite law. It's a notorious fact that when you make allegations, you prove it. The court, as we have said this morning, whether you call it technicality or whatever, it's not going to go to Dugbe Market to go and look for evidence for you. It will not go to just, their lawsuits will not go to just Central Market. In fact, even if they witness the irregularities as citizens, they are not going to help you because they say they are aware of it and add it to your matter for you. You must provide what you are adducing before the court. And that's arid legalism. Whether people like it or not, that's just the way it is. Okay, so these are the points. Now, talking about INEC today, I've heard the name of Festus Okoye mentioned. Well, Festus Okoye, incidentally, is no longer in charge of voter education, voter mobilization. His 5-year tenure as INEC commissioner ended, and the Tinubu administration did not renew it, although it's renewable for another 5 years. So there's another person that is there now, another commissioner who used to be in charge of election and party matters. His name is Sam Olumekun. So he's now the commissioner, and the spokesperson for INEC. I hope that he will be able to, take that job as seriously as Festus Okoye took it. I thought Festus Okoye, did very well in his capacity as the INEC commissioner in charge of voter education.
He did very well. He did very well. Except that underlining statement from the lordships. And I hope that their assurances are mere promises.
No, I already addressed that. And I hope that Sam Olumekun will make himself available in the same manner in which Festus Okoye always made himself readily available anytime journalists wanted clarifications.
Yeah. So I'd like to make a quick allusion based on the former conversation we had prior to this time where Mr. James was talking about technicalities, that we should do away with technicalities. The truth of the matter is, we have put this one way or the other in our jurisprudence, and it has come to stay, which is also a sad one. Go and check through all the cases determined through election petition. It's always been as a result of, especially this election cycle, it's always been as a result of election technicalities. As regards, oh, was he a member of the party when they registered? There's been no case as regards a proof at the polling unit of what happened, and you say, okay, I was unfairly treated. It's always been one technicality or the other. Because it's a quick win for a lot of politicians. Looking at the future.
No, but to be fair, there are cases that have been decided.
How many?
Based on, no, not how many. It's like you said always. That's why I'm saying there are cases.
No, in this election petition tribunal, how many of them?
So one of such is that of Miss Natasha.
Yes,
only Natasha.
Said that the vote of Olga
the Delta South Senatorial District election, as is for now, that senator has to no akbo, because the tribunal said, based on the PDP challenge, that Warri South local government, there should be another election there in the Warri South local government, which is part of that senatorial district. And after that, before you can decide the winner.
So 2 out of how many? It proves my hypothesis is pretty much right. No, because on the basis of...
You want more? You want more?
No, I can give you more. Eyoja Charles' own that was determined yesterday was based on that technicality. The one that was determined in Lagos based on that technicality. The one that was determined in Delta based on that technicality. It goes on and on and on and on like that. But we must get to a point in our jurisprudence, like he was asserting, that it should not be based on that again. All right? So that's why he was talking about the qualification conundrum. And real quickly, I just needed to mention this based on what happened on the air. It wasn't right for our guests to be attacking the other guests as being our invited guest, we not being able to speak up. And I think it's wrong. And that talk about, oh, if he was that good a lawyer, he should have been at the Supreme Court. Mr. Alanu Pekun is a very good lawyer. It's not at the Supreme Court. He's not a Supreme Court judge. Mr. Lateef Fagbemi is a good lawyer. He's not a Supreme Court judge. Levi Zoko, they are good lawyers, not a Supreme Court judge. Olisa Agbakuba is a good lawyer, not a Supreme Court judge. We can go on and on and on like that. I think people should make their argument based on what's on ground, rather than attacking the guests, you know, that they're having an argument. Have your argument pure and simple, but not come here to berate and put down, you know, our guests in a very slurry way. I don't think that's right.
Well, you know, my brother Jason Okpasa is also a politician, so perhaps the politics seem to have taken better of him, because when he came on, the first thing was, is that fellow there a lawyer?
Was he attacking the other person? Make your point known.
I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, it was not necessary. Just berating guests.
Well, sentiments and emotions rather than the law.
And I was talking to him, he kept on calling me, oh, this young man, you what do you know? And I looked at him and I said, well, to what extent?
It's okay, Rufai.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efene. We seem to have run out of time.